All right, I think we're live right now.
Yep,
Hello and welcome,
I see
y'all.
it.
You see it? Yeah.
Yep.
Welcome, hello and welcome to V0oidathon Day 2. And today we're starting out with Toad playing Kirby 64. Hello, Toad.
Hello.
Hello and
Hope, you,
welcome.
hope you're
How you
ready
doing?
for what could turn into a shit show, but should be a good run.
Nah, I believe in you.
Alright, so I'm ready to start whenever.
Yeah, well, the timer is all yours. So
Alright.
whenever you're ready.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, go. We're not going to be watching any of the cutscenes, because you can skip all of them. Except for maybe the last one, because I usually linger there for a little bit.
The last one's pretty good.
Yeah. So, something about running this game, and the reason that I like to run 100% instead of any percent, is that what I'm doing right now is the speed strat for the game. It's just single fire and fly across the entire map. It's the fastest horizontal movement. And so in the any percent run, that's basically all you do, is you just get single fire and do the whole game like that. But in 100%, the only difference in the game is that in the run, is that you're collecting 3 shards per level. And those are like the collectibles that you get. And to get some of them, you need specific power-ups and like specific combinations. So like right here, oops, if I can get him. Right here, I have to get bomb fire, which is fireworks. And so this little block right here is black, which means that you need bomb to get it. And that includes bomb combinations, so fire bomb works just as well as bomb for that. But there are some that require specific combinations, so like it might be, I'm trying to think of an example. Well, you'll see, there's one that's like rock stone later on. I'm not supposed to get hit by him that much. There. But yeah, so that's why I kind of like not being on one power up the whole run. So that's why I chose this run instead. And the only other difference is that there's an extra boss at the end, and that's like that's for getting all the shards. But there still are a lot of parts, like when we don't need a specific power up, because there are plenty of shards that don't require them. Most of the time we will be using single fire. I'm just going over the whole stage. Because unlike most Kirby games, you have unlimited floating. Like, you can just fly forever. Oops. And so normally you wouldn't be able to just fly over a whole level like that, but basically what what you can do with that is you can keep going almost. I mean, like, there's technically a limit still that you'll run out of air. But since the only time that you're actually using air is in like the split second between each fire input, so you can stay in the air a lot longer, because it really doesn't last that long normally. So it's kind of like more like Smash Bros in that sense, where Kirby just can't fly forever if you haven't played a normal Kirby game, where normally you can. So, and you'll see that sort of come into play a little bit later on too. I'm gonna get this because there's a shard in the middle, so you turn around and do that one. You'll see it come into play later on, but you can actually take damage and reset your floating. So on some of the vertically designed ones, you can sort of cheese it a little bit. So I'll point that out again later on. This is sort of like an auto-scroller fight. You have to wait for her to paint them all before you can do anything. There's a couple auto-scrollery levels in here, like sections. But it's mostly not an auto-scroller game. Hit her in kill her in one hit. And so,
got him.
Yeah, flying up on those shards is actually slightly, like, ever so slightly faster than just jumping and landing, because ribbon, the fairy, has to fly to you when you're doing it, and if you float up right after you pick it up, then it takes her shorter to get to you by like a very short amount of time, which is kind of funny. And that's only for these 3 mini bosses, which are like the friends that we're getting at the beginning. So we're gonna fight DDD at the end of this level, and then that'll be the last one before the first real boss, and then there's no more little dudes like that. They're still mid bosses, but not like these end of level little cutscene bosses. Oops, that was a mistake. Let's use that one though.
Oh, are you supposed to lose your fire here?
Yeah, I am.
Um,
But I wasn't. I was supposed to take that dude. I'm gonna. No, I'll go down here. I was supposed to take the dude that I accidentally killed and spit him out the other one, and I accidentally killed him. So I'm actually gonna wait right here. Normally you just skip this person, but I'm gonna get that tomato because I want to be safe. If you don't have full health, she gives you a tomato. If you do, she gives you a 1-up. And you almost never really need them, but I took a lot of damage by accident, so. And so normally you're supposed to go all the way around this room, but you can actually just float straight up here and skip pretty much all of it, so. It's all funny. And so now here, we're gonna get double fire, which originally was the fastest way to do it until people discovered that thing that you could like cancel the floating. And it's not for speed, it's for the bosses. That's why we're using it now. So here's DDD. It's a really hard fight. You just press B the whole time. It's really not a hard fight at all. Now we wait for him to float up there, and then we do the same thing again. And that's this fight.
you really went down fast. I didn't know double fire was so OP.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's really just that this boss is really easy, and it's like the perfect amount of time between hits that the fire has cooldown. So, because it takes a really long time to cool down, but that's like okay when you're fighting bosses, because usually you have to wait between hits anyway. I keep forgetting to split. And so this boss, I can get a 2-cycle. There is RNG sort of involved. That's good RNG right there. It's not a huge difference. That's also good RNG. So those guys sometimes behave a little differently. So that was like okay RNG there. So those guys are all dead. They each take 2 hits, and then we wait for him. This is good RNG. Can we do Wispy? No, missed that. That was bad RNG. there's a lot of like very small things in this. It's random what direction they're gonna go down in. You can still get it fast enough, but I messed it up. And so now we have to wait for one more cycle. Normally he'd be dead right now. But we got pretty lucky with the apples, because like it's sort of random what he's gonna do. He never does the same thing. Oh, oops, that was an early split. Let's get that. There we go. That's real. So you can do him in 2 cycles if you get all the hits at the right times. I missed one of them, so we had to wait 1 extra cycle and still get that extra hit. So right here, I'm actually going to use double fire for a second. I think in the world record, he actually uses it through this whole level, but it's a little harder. So I just switched to single fire there. I'm still getting hit, jeez. I'm all off the rhythm now because I got hit back there and I had to get that food. Normally I'd just be going right along the top just like this. Rock here. So here's coming up is going to be a one of the downsides of 100%, I would say, is so if you go through a level like this and lose your power up, like die for some reason or throw it away and like miss the target that you're trying to throw it at, you'll have to redo the level to get some of the shards. So there's a spark guy that's up ahead that I'm going to combine this rock ability with. And spark guys are sort of infamous sometimes because one of their randomly generated behavior things that they do is they do like a force, it's not even like a force field, they just like sort of stand there and spit out sparks around them completely. And so if you throw your power-up at that, the power-up's destroyed instead of combining with them. So in that instance, then I would have to restart the levels to go back to the beginning to get rock, and then go try that again. Because I need rock spark for the next one. Right here, this was just an auto-scroller section right here. There's nothing we can really do faster than that. Gonna wait for Waddle-Dee. Coming up in the top. And now we can move, and I missed it. So right there, behind me, is where I need rock spark, but I don't have spark yet. I have to go later into the level to get it. And so he's gonna be down here. So you see how he does that spark thing? And it actually just went right over his head. So, you're right. I have to redo it now. That was a bad cycle.
Wow, that was bullshit.
Yeah, no. It was because the dude was creeping up behind me too, and I was like, well, I better hurry up for that. And then that was like within a pixel of him, so I missed it. So
yeah, that's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, this is one of those. Luckily, this level doesn't take as long because there's fire at the beginning that you can still use. Jeez, I'm getting hit by like literally everything going through here. There's fire at the beginning, so like you can still do the level fast. But there are some other levels where it's like you have fire from going into it from another level, but when you restart the level, you don't have fire anymore, so you have to like go through the beginning without the speed part, and then try and redo the thing. So, but see, like I'm already back to this part here. Oh, and I actually don't need to go up there because I already have this shard. That might be safer. Don't have to worry about those guys. So we got rock again. Gotta go get that spark guy. But yeah, there are definitely some more punishing levels for messing that up. Actually, just go right through him because I don't need the shard. Sit through the auto scroller again. I'm just gonna. If you want an idea for how long you can float, it's like you can do that, and then he sort of starts losing it. So that's about how long you can normally float without getting out of air. So wait here again. Let's try it again. We have 2 hits to do it. I'm probably gonna kill the dudes that were chasing behind me. They made me anxious. Can't do that. Let's get rid of them. Oh, there's still one. Okay, so usually you can just wait for him to do that, and then he'll jump again, and then get him. But there was the dude creeping up behind me, so that's why I was like, I have to sit right now. And I got it like literally when he was in a frame of ducking, and I was like, okay. So you know what? But that's usually how that goes. Right there, get that. Slide into the wall, he bounce back a little bit. So on the bright side, if I somehow die with these 2 hits, I don't have to restart the level because I already got the shard. And it just remembers when you got them. But I'm gonna play it safe anyway. Just jump along the top. So there's a ability, not an ability. It's an action that you can do, I guess, because I don't want to call it an ability, where you can slide, just like that. But it's slow because there's a lot of lag after it. But if you use it off ledges, the end lag is canceled. So if you see me just doing like that and not getting hit, that's because it's actually faster, just very slightly. And the same goes for going into doors, like going into rooms. Since you don't have to wait for the end lag, it's a little faster. So here's our good friend Single Fire. I stick with him for this level. So like going into that door, just slide right in. One thing about this game, though, which is made even worse by the fact that I'm playing on an actual N64 and not a virtual console, is that it drops a lot of inputs. So, like, the thing that I'm doing with the fire takes 3 inputs. It's use fire, press A, and exhale, and then go back into fire and just, like, cycle that. But what I do is I just spam A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, because it's going to just drop half of them anyway. So, this is what I gotta do.
Is the time save significant on VC?
Not really. It's just easier. Like, slightly easier.
Okay, because of no drop inputs, right?
I mean, you still drop inputs because the game itself drops a lot of inputs. I'm just saying that's worse because I'm playing it on a Nintendo 64 controller, which is just stickier. So it drops the same amount of inputs, it's just more consequential on the N64 controller.
Yeah, fair.
Because it, like, won't read it again. So it's actually okay if that guy hits us because he boops us up. Oh, and by the way, so DDD is here. Each of the little friends that we gathered does something in levels. So Waddle Dee, you'll see some minecart-like levels. One of them is actually a minecart. So, like, Donkey Kong. King DDD has sections like this where you just ride on his back and he, like, hits stuff with his hammer. And then you already saw Adeline, she's the painter, she sometimes just gives you stuff. So. Oh wait, I need to go back to this level. So this is an instance where you have to backtrack to get an ability. So you notice I picked up ice at the end of that level. So now I have to go through here to get to this rock. Combine these. Now this is I think it's like technically the second fastest ability in the game for like horizontal movement. It's harder to use though, like optimally. But it's just a curling stone. And so
I completely forgot about that power up.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that you would turn into a curling stone.
Yeah. But so this thing right here just needed rock. And since this is rock ice, it counts. Okay, I just wanna... I hate those guys so much. I need fire now. Back to Single Fire. And so we're actually gonna fight a mid-boss that you don't fight if you go the other way. But it's... like, so in any percent you would go the other way because you skip this. But if you do it in 100%, you have to get this shard that's back here. So the other way would have skipped the boss and you would have dropped out in the foreground there, but we needed that shard, so we had to do the mid-boss. I don't know if you can like hear my hands on these buttons, but like I'm literally just spamming them.
Controller ASMR.
Yeah. Actually gonna get that. Depending on your confidence in the game and like your abilities, you can like skip all of the food pretty much. But the game is kind of weird in that it So you have the option to heal up completely at the end of a level if you go to the picnic and you get a tomato. But for some reason, bosses, unless you're doing them for the second time, don't heal you at all. Like, there's no way to heal after a boss. So you can end a boss with 1 HP, and then you just have to go into the next level with 1 HP. And so sometimes what I do, like, if it's a level that I'm, like, not particularly confident in, I'll just, like, kill myself immediately, restart, and then because it restarts the level with full health. But it's much slower, like, if you're really trying to be super on time. Like, for me, I would probably be fine doing it once in the run, just because I think I've done it in my PB. Like, if I were trying to get a PB. But, like, you definitely wouldn't want to do that normally, unless you think that you're going to die later on. Because if you die later on, obviously, you lose more time than you would if you just die immediately and get full health. Gotta wait for that guy, bait him out. Go up here, get this. So fire is actually still faster underwater if you're going horizontally. And so I just chose to get a tomato there.
Gold split rolling in.
Yeah. So the reason that I made sure that I got a tomato there is because I actually have to take 2 damage in this level. And I only had 2 damage, so I had to get that tomato. And you'll see why. This is what I was talking about before with the floating thing. So in this room here, we're just going straight vertically. And normally you can't float to the top, but there's cannons on the side. And I missed it because it's dropping my things. I don't know if you saw that, but he was not going very fast. And that's my A button, apparently. Or just this game dropping inputs. Normally, because like if it were going at the rate that I was actually pressing the button, he would just be like constantly, but he was going very, very not consistently there, which is just what the game does. And you'll see that actually on the very final boss. It behaves so weird sometimes, where it's like you can be spamming the button to shoot, and it just won't shoot. After like it shoots like once every 4 shots. It's just really weird. So those will one-hit kill you if you get squashed between there, and we need this ability, so if I were to die here, then I'd have to restart the level. So there is a fast way to get through this whole thing, but I didn't want to risk it, because I already died once and had to redo, I already had to redo level 1, so that's moon, star, tree. There's tree, star, and moon. So in theory, if you were really, really, really lucky, you wouldn't have to use this ability, because all it did was light up that room and show us what the combination was. But, I mean, it would be stupid to try and guess every time, so that's why it's really important that we get that ability. Jeez, that was bad. I don't think I need it, but I'm just gonna play it safe and get that tomato. So here's level 2, world 2 boss. Depending on what he does right here when he's coming out, you can just, well, you'll see for yourself. It's very hard. So it looks like. That's just going to be right here. Right here. You can't hurt them in this cycle, so normally you'd have to spend the minute or whatever it is just dodging them, but I mean, there's a place that you can just stand and not take damage. It depends on the first cycle, because like there's 2 different cycles that they can do, and yeah, see, that'll slow me. There's 2 different cycles that they can do. One of them you stand like right here, and one of them you stand where I was standing. So if they go into a pyramid, we're lucky, but they didn't, so we're not lucky. So they each take 4 hits, and if you match their color, that counts as 2. The reason that I kept that... I missed it. So the reason that I kept that double spark ability is because if they were to... Because one of the things that they do when they... One of their first cycles can be that they form like a triangle. And if you jump into the middle of the triangle, then you can hit them all at once. So you can do that like twice or 3 times and then just clean them up at the end. But they didn't do that, so that's why I threw the ability, which counts as 2 hits, and then just had to match the colors for the other ones. So something that's really weird about this game, if you're jumping straight up, you don't take damage from things. So what I just did there with hitting those fish is I just had to jump up underneath them and I avoided damage. And so there's some other things too, like even if it's like a projectile that's coming at you that you can just avoid just by jumping straight up. But you have to be going straight up, so it's like it's a little harder to time than it looks sometimes. Just that. This section's technically faster if you just float the whole time. So here we need a very slow ability. Not this one that I'm using right now, but what I'm going to combine it with. It's just, you'll see it. It's an explosive snowman, but it's on a timer. So, let's see if I can, no, I jumped too early. So that, like, you could block those by jumping. But this is, because it's such a slow ability, I'm not going to be using it to hurt people here. So instead, I'm going to try to just dodge stuff, or, like, jump into it. Or try to do that. But I need it for one of the shards, so yeah, first try Rick if we're lucky. So right here though, I mean it's not the best, but at least you can jump into him, which is a little convenient. But normally you have to wait on a timer for that to even like do damage. So you'll see right here. I don't need your handouts, not for this. So I'm going to go down over here as close to this side as possible. Oops. And then, so now the timer's going. And by the time that I get here, then it'll be done. As opposed to going and standing there and then waiting for the whole timer, because there was no way to trigger that early. Oops, I didn't actually mean to use it. There, we got rid of it. Too early. So we're still saving time, trying to make up for that really botched 2-1. So this is going to be the first level with a true auto-scroller, starring Waddle-Dee. So right here we don't actually have any power up to help us, but we do have to get rock. And just run through these guys.
Yeah, I guess there's really nothing happening in this bridge.
Yeah. And so now we combine rock and fire, and that's for this shard up here. Just do this. And you actually damage him when he's next to you, even if you're just going straight up because of his claw. And for some reason, the bottom one despawns. So right here, this is kind of interesting behavior. So I put the ability over my head, and now it's gone. Normally when you go through a room, it doesn't disappear, but for that one, it does for some reason. So that's the fastest way to get rid of it, because we don't need it anymore. And so here's Waddle Dee. We're going to ride on down here. It's very strange. So there's a weird optimization for the vehicles, the vehicle sections. So, and it's always changing which one's the most optimal. But some of them you jump the whole time for, and some of them you jump as little as possible, except for jumping over obstacles and trying to get shards like that. So as it stands right now, this one you don't jump for, and the other two you do. But when I learned the game, it was this one you jump for. Or wait, it was actually the same, I think, but the difference was that you were supposed to try and jump whenever you could, just not frequently. So like you would get to like the end of one of those and jump off of that, or like jump off of the top of a waterfall. But that's not the case anymore. I don't know, it's really weird. I don't understand why it's so specific. But that's that. That's that whole section right there. And there's gonna be 2 more of those. So here's invincibility. Just go through the whole thing like this. There is going to be a shard. Maybe. And so now we're going upstream, so it's going to be a little slower. Those things are really annoying. So getting hit in this game is like really punishing sometimes. Just because of like the way that they did it is like it's like it's painful to me when I get hit just because of how much time it takes to like recover. And not only that, but like you can get stuck in multiple hits in a row. So like there are some instances if it's something that won't die when you hit it, because like a lot of enemies, if you get hit by them, like unless it's by one of their projectiles, they will also die. But for some things like these logs and like Gordos, they don't die when you hit them, so you could just get trapped in a corner by one of them, or like with these, for example, you'll just get continually railed by them and just keep taking hits, and you won't be able to move because the hit stun after that takes so long. So
yeah, that's definitely a trend that they kept going through like most Kirby games. Like I played a lot of the handheld Kirby games, and when you take damage in those games, and same in Kirby Superstar, you take damage in KSS, and it takes like an eternity.
It is just so much. Yeah, I think this game in particular is just like really punishing because, again, because of the N64, the fact that the controller sucks and that it drops every other input. It's like it's so much harder to like recover from it.
If you could play on an actual like playable controller, this wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, but as of right now, I can only stream from N64, Super Nintendo, and GameCube. So that's what I'm dealing with it. I mean, it's not horrible. I like the game. It's just annoying sometimes.
Yeah, you deal with it.
Yeah. Oh, that's not good luck. Gotta respawn. Did it again. So see, like it kills him from afar if I'm inhaling when I get hit. And now I have to respawn him again because he's not loading off screen. These guys are so annoying sometimes. Of course, I'm trying to do it with that dude above me too. There we go. Normally that does not take that long. This is another level where it's like critical that I do not screw up the ability swap. Not this one, because I'm in the same room. There's one right here that I have to do. Where like if I were to miss that, then I could go back and get the cutter. But there's one later on that uses a different ability that comes from the room before, so I have to move back. On the wrong one. There's actually a tomato down here that I'm just going to get just to be safe. I probably won't need it. It's not too out of the way, so. We're going to get rid of this ability just by doing this. And so here's Rock, and we're going to take him, we're going to keep him in my mouth for now. And this is one of the reasons why I'm confused about that one particular, that one room transition that gets rid of the ability, because at first I was like, oh, it's because it's like maybe a mini cutscene technically, because you go into the Wallaby thing. But that's also like definitely more of a cutscene, and it doesn't do it for that. So there's the ability. We did get it. If I had missed that, I would have to redo this whole level without fire, which would make the whole first part really annoying. Well, I mean, I guess I could get that fire right there, but it's just so bad. I'm actually going to be safe and go over here, because he spawns a shard over there, and if you're using that ability right on top of him, you fall right into the hole and you can't go back. So you would miss the shard and have to redo the level. So this is where the first time Rick RNG comes in that you might have seen people saying, because this is random. Which dude I'm gonna get here, and only Rick can scale this wall. So far, not very good. It's entirely based on RNG. This is really bad RNG. There he is. Yeah, so that was really bad RNG. You should be able to get him like pretty sooner than that.
Yo, shoutouts to Rick.
No, don't give him a shout out. You just ruined this run. He decided not to come out when we needed him most. Okay, another weird behavior in this game. So, oh, that was bad. So with these things right here, if it's coming out from the left, you have a couple seconds before it drops. If it's coming out from the right, it drops instantly. So it's like, so this is like you have a little bit of leeway, but right here, if I don't jump right at the right split second, I get plowed by those three, and it's bad. I am going to be safe again. Get that tomato. We lost 30 seconds on Rick. That's basically what that was. Oh, and I guess we lost more because I had to get the cutter 3 times. But... So we do hold on to this ability because you can do this. You don't have to worry about any of this stuff coming out from the walls. I used it too early, actually. Go straight down here. But then we get rid of it. And so now we wait. So if I did that at the right time, I'm only going to get hit once during this segment. If you mess up the timing, sometimes something will come from the top of the screen and kill the fish. So this guy right here will hit me, yeah. So then that's good. That's what was supposed to happen, I think. Yeah, Kirby has animal buddies too, just like Donkey Kong. Much less appreciated in Kirby though. So I'm going to do the safe strat right here and just get this bomb now, because if I miss him later, then I have to restart this room. Even though that's slightly slower there. I have to crawl all the way down here to get this shard. So that one I could have gotten, but see, he blows up really quickly, and it's hard to get to a position where you can inhale him without him blowing up first. So that's why we just did it safe. I think I would have missed it that time too, because like by the time that I got there, he was already blowing up. So bomb isn't actually needed for a... Yeah, I didn't know that the fish could do that until doing this run. So, so the bomb isn't actually needed for any shards, but it makes this mid-boss and it makes the boss for World 3 much easier. You can see that. And there's no shard for this guy, so you can just stand at the door and go right out. But there's a shard right down here that I have to get. So like normally with a lot of mid-bosses that have shards, that spawn, which means that they couldn't think of a better place to put a shard in the level, then you would have to like sort of reposition how you're fighting the boss, because then you have to be able to get the shard optimally, which usually spawns toward the center of the stage. But on those ones, you can just stand at the door. And so now we're going into the boss. Up first. So it's already done. And he's not dead yet, but the second part isn't much harder than the first part, so just have to wait a little bit. Until the screen starts shaking, and then we turn around and start dropping more bombs. There you go. So we have to wait for another cycle now. Very short, but there. He's dead. Now you swim up for the shard. And we're on to World 4. Now there is a story, we're just skipping all the cutscenes. It actually has like more of a story than some other Kirby games. But you'd be surprised how much of a story a lot of Kirby games have.
I barely remember the story from this game. I think it has something to do with like an evil force corrupting the existence or something like that.
Well, it is. And basically it takes over the ribbon that Barry's home, and then she like crashes into Kirby. And he's like, I'll help you. And he does. That's the whole game. But it's like the third part of the Dark Matter trilogy, which is Dreamland 2, 3, and this. So not Dreamland 1, because that was the first Kirby. And then instead of doing... I need to get a shard back there, but I won't get that.
Oh, I had no idea that this game was technically a sequel. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's the third in a trilogy after a trilogy. it's really weird. Because the way that Sakurai, who like made the first Kirby game, who made Dreamland, when he was doing sequels, instead of like doing like Dreamland 2, he did Kirby's Adventure, Kirby Superstar, all those things. But then Dreamland 2 and Dreamland 3, which is where the animal buddies were introduced and like that sort of stuff. Oh wait, I need to get fire, I forgot. Where those are introduced, those are all technically not made by Sakurai. Like he didn't make Dreamland 2 or 3 or this game, and they're a trilogy on their own, even though it starts with the second in a different trilogy. It's weird. But the story is kind of the same, like the whole Dark Matter thing and the idea where it's like you can beat the game normally, and you beat the game normally and it's over. Or you can get all the collectibles, and then you get the secret boss and the secret true ending, which has been a staple sort of like in other Kirby games since then, but originally it was... Ooh, that's bad. So this level actually has a really high kill box. I'm gonna be safe though. So you can just fly under these with fire, but if you screw it up and you go slightly too low, then you're just dead. You have to restart it. But yeah, so that's why in 100% there's an extra boss. There's only one extra level. Like it's like a very short thing that leads up to the boss, but it's because we're getting all the shards as we play the game instead of going back for them. Gotta be careful with those guys, because if you get hit by them too much, you'll actually drop your ability. Like if you get hit too many times in a sequence. Okay, we actually got it. I thought I was gonna go too low for that. Like that. Please get there. Nah, okay, well whatever. We'll just do this section without fire. We don't need it. We get rid of fire at the end of this level anyway, and we have the invincibility, so it's not a huge deal. Yeah, and part of the reason that like I was running this game as opposed to the other games, the other Kirby games, is, I mean, personally it was my first Kirby game. I could have gotten that fire, but I missed him. It was my first Kirby game, and also something that I didn't realize, because I was considering running different Kirby games after running this game, I was like, oh, you know what? They can't be too different. But the fact that you combine abilities in this game means that there's no random ability cycling when you swallow 2 abilities at once. And that's a huge staple of other Kirby speedruns, is frame-perfect randomized abilities that you have to get. Oh, wait, shoot, I forgot bomb. I have to go back. So this is a backtrack. You have to go back to World 2-4. It's the fastest place to get bomb, and you combine it with the rock that I got at the end of that level. That's for the section in the next level. Oops. See that? That's a dropped input. I pressed down, didn't do it. It just doesn't, decides not to sometimes. So thankfully I don't have to get that shard again. Not that it loses any time, but so yeah, in like Kirby Superstar, for example, if you're doing any percent, or even, oh, this is one where you jump the whole time, or even, I don't know about 100%, but I know that a lot of the run is getting the double ability cycle thing so that you can get Jet, which is the fastest ability. What was that? I landed on top of that. It just put me behind it. It's okay, I got the shard. But yeah, that's personally, like, that's why I didn't end up running that game too. Also, it looks like you can fall in those holes. You physically can't. So if you jump the whole time, the only thing you have to worry about is hitting those rocks. Alright, now we go through the level. I am gonna play it safe and get that. It's just an extra food thing that you can get. This ability is kind of dangerous because you can actually hurt yourself with it. If you press down when you use it, it's dynamite, and you throw out dynamite. And if you press down, you put a construction hat on, you're safe, because that's how dynamite works. But if you don't put the construction hat on and you're in the range of it, which is a very wide range, you take damage. And it normally is on a timer, or it can trigger when it touches an enemy. So like if you use it at the wrong time and you like are in the air or something and it hits an enemy, and that means that you can't protect yourself from it and you get hit. So I probably didn't need that extra health, but this room here in general is just sometimes a little wonky, so I just want to play it safe, because then if I do die here, then I have to redo the whole level and backtrack to get 2 abilities instead of just the rock. I mean, instead of just the bomb, because the bomb I got from the end of a different level, so I'd have to actually go to a different level entirely to get bomb, and then come back into level 2-4 and get bomb again. So right here, I'm gonna actually spit it out. Right there. Oh, that wasn't close enough. Okay, so now we have to wait. Normally, when you hit that, it'll bomb. And because it triggers immediately for hitting the enemy, and it'll hit that door. I don't know why it didn't reach that time. It should have, but it didn't. So I had to wait. But now we're
that range is a lot bigger than I expected.
Yeah, but we use it in this room too. Be careful. So like that. Yeah, see, because now I have to wait for it. But like in that instance where I didn't use it on an enemy, or like I used it when I was getting damaged, I wouldn't have had time to get the ability out. I mean, get the helmet out. Wait here. So those are instant kill if you get crushed by them. They're pretty easy to avoid though, for the most part. I'm gonna say that and then get crushed by one. And just because I said that, I'm gonna wait for this one because I figured I would curse myself. Okay. So this level, I don't need the, I mean, the ability that I need is right at the beginning, so I didn't have to backtrack or anything, didn't have to go in with anything. There it is. unfortunately I can't get that fire. Because I need this ability. There is a fire later on though that I can use. There's the shard. See, like, even that, I was jumping up, but it didn't count. I don't need that ability, so I'm just gonna let it die. You can also do the curling stone here, because there's rock right there, and I could have used that ice and combined them, but I'm not gonna do that. Wow. That ledge jump actually just made it so that I got hit by that, because I wasn't in invincibility anymore. So I gotta be a little safe here. There's some food coming up, though.
Question from the chat, why do you let Kirby become so sad?
You have to. It wastes time to give him food at the end of a level, so you actually have to. He just has to cry. You'll have to deal with it. Sometimes I'll give him the tomato.
That's a pretty nice safety option to if you need it.
Yeah, if you need the health, you can take it.
Yeah.
But to be optimal, he has to cry, because the fastest way just stands still. So it's not even like you get a random item. Like you just don't get anything if you're doing it the fastest way. So this next part up here is RNG. It's decent RNG. I think that might be the best one. Top hat. You have to make a picture. All we do is just get rid of this line right here. And there it is. There's a pizza and an umbrella. Umbrella takes the longest. I'm still playing it a little safe just because I'm at 2 health. There's food along the way here that I'm just going to grab that. There's more up ahead. I don't know how I didn't get that one actually. Okay, now we're going to be full after that. Not anymore. Alright, then there's a shard down here. So my PB is 8 minutes ahead of, oh, forgot, again, gotta backtrack. My PB is 8 minutes ahead of the estimate, so as long as we're within that, we're good. I'm gonna kill this guy, because he's really annoying. Sometimes if I do this to combine this, he'll land on it and destroy it, so I have to go back, so I just got rid of him. Yeah, so this is the curling stone again. You need ice for one of the shards in here. Obviously you don't find an ice ability in this volcanic level, so you have to backtrack for it. This one was so hard for me as a kid, because when I found out that that's how you had to bring ice here, but I didn't think to combine it with something though, so I was just trying to get through the whole level without dying with just ice. Which isn't a horrible ability on its own, but it's like, if you're me and you're 4 years old, then it's a little tough. I don't know, man. Too much ice. So really good runners of this game can just curl through the whole thing, but I'm too scared. Because I'm already behind. Here's DDD again. This is the second to last time we're going to see him in this form. He'll help us out later on, but not like this. I just got hit twice. There's a sandwich up here though. Jeez. Goodbye, DDD. That was not very good of you. You got hit a lot. There's a lot of food here. It's really critical that we don't die. Because we still haven't gotten to the point that we need ice for. Thankfully, lava does not kill you in one hit, so if I do somehow fall in there, it doesn't mean death. Oh, wrong way. So this is the room where we need it. And then we're going to use it for about 5 seconds. Less than that. And we're back to single fire. Some people also do this with double fire. I think it optimizes technically faster, but for me it makes this switch easier, because how did I not get that food? I just missed it twice. Sometimes they have weird hitboxes on the food. Should get that one. There's a boss up next, that's why. Just play it safe. But for the boss coming up, you want to use Fire Cutter, and so the way that you can do that is either do double fire through this whole section here, get Cutter at the very end, and then combine it with one of the things in the boss fight. But I just like to stick with stick with single fire, fly up and get Cutter at the end of this and combine it. I just think that's a little easier. Sorry, Kirby cried again. He'll be happy after this one, though. So, like those guys, you can combine it with those, because they're fire.
Oh, I like that ability to fire sword.
Yeah. It's much better for this kind of thing than I thought it was. It's like before learning the game, like you can just stand here and do damage just by existing. I told you he's gonna be happy after this one. He'll be very happy. He's gonna kill the boss. Jump up and do that. It's okay, that's why we have extra health. And now he's dead. Look how happy he is. He's so happy, see? It's all for the best. So this is a level where sometimes if I've taken a lot of damage, I'll just kill myself and reset it. But I should be good with this amount, because there is food in the level. It's just, I'm talking like when I literally have like 2 health here. Like from the start, and I'll be like, hey, you know what? That was annoying timing. that one, Dave. Okay. Still more food here.
Man, birds truly are jerks.
Crow's descendants.
Do they like track your movement or something?
Like sort of. I mean, some of them dive, some of them drop bird shit, and the ones that dive wait for you to be in a certain spot usually. That one in particular, it's just because I was so close to the top of the screen already that you just have to instantly dive, and I was hit by it. So this one I do jump the whole time. But I'm probably not going to for all of it, just because I want to make sure I get all the food in it. Stock up on some life. There's some food that you can't get if you're jumping the whole time. I didn't get as much health as I hoped I would. I think there might be one more, but there might not even be. No, there isn't. Okay, well, we have a mid-boss right here. Just need fire for that. Nope, not load up. So you kind of have to get hit here. Actually, that time I almost didn't because of the wild boar. But usually you have to just choose between the ice dude and the Gordo. Usually you want to do the ice dude though, just because he dies when you hit him, as opposed to the Gordo that doesn't. So I'm running out of air here. So see, even when I'm doing this, I still have to land occasionally. Now I'm completely replenished. So I'm gonna get the tomato here. Cool. So this level, this is my least favorite level in the entire game. I like the level itself, but it really bullshits me a lot, to put it lightly. And yet you might see why. There's a ability combination later on that I have to connect with a suicidal enemy that continually jumps off the side.
This spot right here looks like a terrible spot for having your inputs drop.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Well, because that's the thing. If you drop the input on the first float after, I mean, like on the float that cancels the fire, then it goes into a state where you can't float, so you just fall straight down. So that's why I always play it safe and just press A a bunch, so that the worst that would happen is that I float an extra time and lose the momentum, as opposed to dropping straight down and then having to jump back up again.
Yeah, fortunately it didn't happen.
Yeah. What? Still on fire. So we're gonna get needle right here. And this is where we're going to combine it with the Other dude, but the problem is he's in the next room, so if I lose this ability or die somehow, then that means I have to redo the level. And I have to redo it without fire, because I got fire at the end of the boss. I mean, I got it at the end of the other level. So this room here, I can run through this part, run under him, jump over him. Should have jumped again. So coming up here is where the dude is. Let's do that, be safe. So right over here, see how he's not here? He already killed himself off screen. That's just kind of how this part goes. So I have to run over here. Oh, come on. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm trying to kill that guy, there we go. So there he is, see, just jumps right off. So I just have to wait for him to not want to die. And I just killed him, and I have one hit left. See, that's why this section sucks. I'm gonna grab this just to be safe. We are wasting time doing this. See, look at him. He just killed himself. He just can't really do anything about it. Hey, there he goes again. Oh, he's coming back. He's coming back. It's RNG. Like, it's entirely RNG. There he goes again. So wait for him to spark, and then he's gonna jump again, and then get it. So okay, so we didn't have to redo the level. We did waste a lot of time for him, though. And well, I say that we didn't have to redo the level, but I haven't actually made it through without dying yet. Playing it so safe here. I really don't want to die with this guy. Okay, so we got the shards. We got the shards, so it's okay that I died. It's okay that I died. Jesus Christ. And now this.
That was pretty clutch.
Yeah, that's doing this with one health. It's just lost that. Yep. See what's not a shard? Then is that I got it, and I'm gonna get it to mate it. Jesus Christ, I hate that level so much. And now we have an ability that we don't usually have here. I'm not going to use because it's slow. There we go. I used it. It was helpful. Thank you very much, ability. So with these elevators, you want to jump into that spot because it's a short little cutscene thing if you don't, where he has to walk up to it, so if you land on it, then it's just faster. Like if you land in the exact right spot. Which is slightly different on both sides, so see how we still have to like adjust there? Technically waste time. No, it's not ideal. Here's a spot that you can get caught by Gordos, and it's really annoying. So I'm just going to be safe and not get caught by a Gordo. Or maybe I will. Okay, I didn't. I got hit, but I didn't get caught by the Gordo. Alright, so this is one of the hardest mid-bosses of the game. Dead.
Gee, that was hard.
Yeah, alright, so now we have to wait to see what fruit she paints, and then do the colors. So that's going to be lemon, chestnut, and melon. So that's brown, green and yellow. Second half isn't as good RNG because you have to jump back for the shard. If it's in the first 3 colors, then it's helpful. But it's okay if it's not. Uh-oh. Get that. Oh, I thought there was a dude up there. There's one right there, though. There's one right there, too. I'm just getting this food, just to be safe for the next level. And also for this part, I guess. Because this is an ability that I need later, so I don't want to die here, because I have to backtrack for it. That wasn't a drop tip, but that was just me. Oops. Got hit by like 3 of them. That's just good to me. Which I missed, doesn't matter. Oh well. I'll take it. Okay. So, this level. Great music, but it can go a lot of ways. It's the final DDD section is in this level. Maybe a fire here. Go. That was a drop tip. Okay. Get the shard. Get down here. I was supposed to go over him. Here's Diddy. Roy Diddy Doo. So this is an instant kill section. If I mess this up. Like if I don't make it through there. And there's some that I'm going to be risky and try and go for on the first one. I would have done it for that one if I didn't get hit by the dude. Jeez. That's not a big deal. There's that. Well, I might not be risky on any of them. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. This one's especially rough if it drops a dash input, because then you die in there. That was risky. That one that I just did. Like that. See how he like walked for a second first? If that were at a split second one, then I would have died. We made it though. DD did us well. Get that. Alright, so right here, I'm going to see if I can do this the right way. If not, that's not a huge deal. Oh, I needed one more. Oops. Well, it's okay. I just want to make sure that... So once you kill that boss, the little mini fire things stop spawning. So if you throw your ability to kill them, when one of them is in the air, and then they die, then you have to... you can't do this part with fire because they won't respawn. Shoot. I should have gone on that first one before. Okay. Should be fine then. Do have to wait for this one. That was almost really bad. I shouldn't have gone for that last one. Hit by a lot. I can get hit by everything. I need this shard though. Those are instant kill if I get hit by them. Okay. Get tomato for the boss. That was a glide. Wow, that was a really good glide. Saved a minute and a half. Alright.
Bring this shit back. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Let's hope for good cycles on this. If he uses both hands, it's a good cycle. He doesn't. It's a bad cycle. I can't even hit him on this one. I have to wait. Use both hands, please. Make up for it. Thank you. Dang it. I could have gotten 4 hits on that. Or did I get 4 hits? I don't think I did. Well, whatever. If he does it again, then it's fine. Yep. Okay. 2 cycle this bitch. That's the, I mean, the best case scenario is 2 cycle anyway, so it doesn't matter that I missed the 3rd one, because we got lucky and got a, oops, got lucky and got a, wow, I keep hitting it, that's not what I'm trying to do. Oh, I forgot, I don't have to jump. See, this is, using Spark for this is actually new for me. Originally I used Fire Sword, so I'm still getting, oh no, I'm still getting used to this. Please don't die, please don't die. Okay, he's dead. That's a glad too. But see how I don't get a tomato? Like, I just have to go into this level with 1 hit. Like, cool. There is a tomato at the end of this level, though. Oh no! Oh no! That was very close for comfort. I'm actually surprised I did not get hit by that. So right here, I have to stop using fire, because there is a shard that requires bomb needle instead of fire needle. I mean, instead of fire bomb, like at the end of level 1. This level is literally a carbon copy of level 1, except with a different mid-boss and like different enemies. Like the layout is exactly the same. And to compensate for the fact that there's no Waddly fight at the end that gives you a shard, there's a shard at the mid-boss, which there isn't for the first level. So you still get 3 shards, even though the rest of the level is the same. But yeah, so we can't use fire because we need needle, which is only in the first section, and then combine it with the bomb that's right here. But he's an advanced bomb. He throws 3 instead of just 1, so it's a little harder to read. Like if you miss the spacing, it's a little tougher. So that's where we need that for. Get it? Oh, come on. What? Get another shard. Oh, not a shard. I meant a tomato. Okay.
Wow, level is super short.
Yeah, well, because it's literally level 1. It's the same layout. That's why it's so short.
Right, yeah.
So, alright, so what we're going to do is come back and get that spark. Backtrack. It's the fastest place in the game to get it. Luckily, we just beat that level. So something I didn't really realize about this this world when I was playing through it the first time, the entire world is getting into the castle that's in the background, which is like in the opening. And so the first level is like you're just on the planet or whatever, but then this level you're going through the like sewers to get to it, and you'll see at the end of this level that we go up an elevator, and then the entire next level is inside. It's like a enemy rush, not a boss rush, but like it's just rooms full of enemies. And you're going up the stairs, because I never realized it, because then there's sequences where you're going upstairs, and then finally you're at the top, and that's where you fight Miracle Matter. Which is, I didn't realize that until recently, even though I played this game so much. Well, not recently, but like, when I started running it. Which was several years after I played it for the first time. Thank you, DDD. It's not the last time he'll help us. It would be if we were doing any percent. We have a lightsaber. Swimming is pretty slow in this game. Unless you're going straight up. So you do want to wait for this. And this is where we need cutter ability, but since we have lightning cutter, it's good for that, and it's better for the next level. Alright, take the elevator up. And that's the end of this level. And we have full health, so I don't even need to get tomato. So this is a little intricate. I just sort of learned it recently. This strat that I'm going to be doing with this weapon, because you do need a particular power-up combination for this level to get one of the shards. It's in the next room. Or wait, 2 rooms from here. But if you time the spawns perfectly, I mean not time them perfectly, but like set them up perfectly, then you can actually use that ability and then get this ability right back. So that's what we're going to do, because this is the best one for clearing rooms. I'll use it here. And it actually does damage as you turn around, so this is slightly harder than it looks, as you can see by the fact that I messed it up. But if you get these guys on their spawn right as they're turning, like right as they're spawning in the air, as you're turning around, you can actually kill them. As opposed to swinging the blade and taking longer. So this is the one where you have to do it correctly. So what I'm going to do is, I think I do that, and then kill that. Yeah, so then I'm going to leave him alive. I do this, I have to swallow him to make this guy spawn. Get that. Use that. Get the shard. Swallow him, and do this. And now we have the ability again. Just like that. And I'm gonna fly over these guys. No, I'm not. I forgot that they do that. I always have the idea like, I'm not gonna risk it. I'm gonna fly over them, and then they just jump. I never learn. Get out of here, dude. That was a drop jump. Now these guys I will jump over. Jeez. That's the last shard. Should be until the boss. See that like void that's above us? Not you void, but that void. It's
I'm in this game. Woo!
Yeah, it's where we fight Miracle Matter in the next level. It's still above us, if you can see there. That's like a connection they never made. So this is the final boss at 90%. This is the last guy that you'll fight. If we have good RNG, it's going to be Plasma. Yes! Wait, this is really good RNG, actually. Because this is the most annoying one to do without an ability. Now let's get Cutter. No, okay. We didn't. So you can only hurt this guy with his abilities. That's actually bad RNG for that one. So we'll,
Yeah, so ideally you would get Cutter and Plasma right away.
Yep.
And then afterwards you can like fight his weakness.
Yep. So this one you can get him in one cycle. Like that. This one you can also get in one cycle. The annoying ones are Bomb and Spark. And luckily, Spark Cutter is a good Oh, what? He was still invincible. He shouldn't have been. But Spark, luckily, is a good ability to combine with Cutter for the other levels, so you'll have it if it does spawn it here first. Just need 2 bombs. Let's see if we can get it. Ah, see, some of them are really, really tight winners. So he'll die after this. I should have been able to hit him with the one that I threw, but he was invincible for really long. Unless I missed time something else. This one, get the ability. Taking a lot of damage though, so that doesn't cost me. Got rid of that, so should we Cutter next? No, Fire again. Really didn't do this. So this is the ideal cycle for Fire, is the pillars, because then you can keep hitting him. That's really bad. Okay, so you just need to not die to Cutter, which we're on the right side, so I'm gonna play it very safe, just staying over here, camp out. And now I really hope that bomb doesn't kill me, because it might, because it's RNG. Like, if these come right at me, then it's like, yep, that was scary. Yep, that's RNG. Like, it's like, it comes right for you sometimes, and that is this game.
Come on!
Yep. That is really stupid. That's like so unlikely that he would have followed me exactly to that like 3 different times and walled me up there. But yeah.
Now the unfortunate thing is you don't have
yeah, and it was Spark again. So now and like you can't get it one cycle. You can't get it one cycle without an ability for Spark. That's really annoying. We could have like had a PB if that went well. One last hit.
Yeah, he had the sliver of the health.
Literally, no, it was one more bomb. I had to get him with one more bomb, and if he wasn't impervious before, he would have not even had that cycle left. But that's why I hate what? That's why I hate bomb and lightning, because it's so hard. Like lightning, you cannot get on first cycle. Bomb, I mean, like you can, but it's like it's the spawning of those little sparks that entirely determines how well you're gonna do. And it's random. So it's like, it's annoying. Hopefully that's a pretty free cycle. I mean, single cycle. So this one's not horrible. It's annoying, but yeah, alright, good. You can get 3 cycle if you do that perfectly. Yep. This should be doable still in 1 cycle. No, it went over his head, so that actually won't be in 1 cycle. Yeah, I hate Mirror. He should be dead. He literally needed 1 more hit. We got John. Jeez. Like, look at this. It's random. It's random. Like, I couldn't hit him with 2 bombs, so I had to settle for that. But watch this. Since I know that that's going to be the last one, I can do this, and then it should be bomb again, right? No, it's not. For a fire still there. If you know, or if you get lucky with what the last cycle is going to be, then you can use the combined ability that lets you. Because like this, I have to wait to be able to attack him at all. But if he had done bomb next, then I would have been fine. So. And the fact that it like flashes like that means that you definitely got all of the other shards. So I mean, it's not going to be a PB. It would have been very, 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 very hard to PB down on that anyway. So that's fine. It'll still be under the estimate, and it might be even lower than the estimate if I get a new strat down that I've never done in a run before. I'm gonna wait for the tomato though. To max health, because we're not on PB pace. Okay, so this, you'll see, it's kind of weird how the inputs work on this. You'll see the number that get dropped. I'm gonna be pressing it the whole time. It's gonna do 4 at a time every time. But if you move, then it just drops them. Like, that's a perfect one, because if you do 4 in a row like that. But if they're any more separated than that, then it's messed up. See if we get this, we can reset the boss. No. We didn't get... Well, maybe... At least we only have one more hit on him there. Dang it. There's a way that you can do it where you actually just skip this again altogether. It's very weird. Very complicated. But, thankfully, all we need is one more hit on that top ring. Oh wait, 2 more. 3 more. Oh. And now he's actually bugged out. So I'll have to do this again. The camera determines what phase he's in. And you can't turn the camera a certain amount during different phases. I might die because those things are sometimes annoying. They're random how they're going to spread out. Let's see. So now I have to start from the beginning. Like, it's skip the cycle. It's just, so you either get to skip to this again or you have to redo the whole thing. It's a very weird boss. It's because it's no other interaction in the game, so they like programmed them completely differently. There it is. So 4 minutes ahead of the estimate, but
nice run.
Not a PB. So yep. That's it.
You almost brought it back at some point.
Yeah, no, honestly, if that Miracle Matter were... Well, no, because I fucked up 0-2, so it wouldn't have... If I had gotten the 1 cycle 0-2 and not died at the end of Miracle Matter, it would have been a PB. But I didn't, so...
Yeah, because you went from, like, almost 4 minutes behind to, like...
Oh, yeah, a minute and a half, yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. Thank you very much for running this game.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good luck with that was starting off the day ahead of time, so you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I was worried I would set the whole thing back if I like, did one of those 10-minute things or mess it up that bad. I was like, after that mess up on 2-1, I was kind of worried. I was like, you know what? Is this what kind of run this is gonna be? Or I have to redo?
Hey, well, you were able to keep it together. And yeah, like I said, you almost brought it back completely.
Yeah.
You were like close to PD base towards the end.
Yep. So, alright, well, I guess I will let you go. If you want to see the credits, they're actually in color because we beat the secret boss. Normally they're not in color. If you just do
I forgot about that, actually.
Yeah, so...